fine. All right, awesome. So let me share my screen. All right, so I actually have double screen, so you see me looking at the other side here. So okay, so all right, so the first thing first, we needed to get the subscription. Anything you're doing on Azure, you need to get the subscriptions, right? It could be a pay as you go, or it could be something you're paying for, or it could be a virtual studio enterprise subscriptions. So as a full-time employee, you were given access to a virtual studio enterprise subscriptions. So how did we access it? So go to the site, my.studio.com. So you might not have access to this particular subscriptions, but this virtual studio is actually like more like a demo environment that Microsoft gives to customers, right? With the virtual studio subscription, you have access to a lot of other subscriptions like that. Now, what I needed to do just now is just to put in my company's organization email. But because I'm no longer with a partner, I have access. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer. And as a Microsoft certified trainer too, I have access to the same subscriptions, right? So I want to show you. So I'll be signing in with my account, my entity account. It's actually my Gmail account that I converted to a live account. So the first step again, go to that URL, my.studio.com. I'll drop it in the chat so you can have it. Because the link used to be very useful for a lot of things, right? But Microsoft has limited it. I'll still show you other things you can do while I'm bringing into the platform. Okay. All right, so I will say yes. Then
Okay.
so this one's yeah. So I actually created this particular browser profile for our training basically. So it's a browser profile for our training. All right, so this is the site here. So the site here, anybody actually have access to it. But what you have access to depends on your permissions. Because it's my account that I used to sign in here, it's a Microsoft recognized Microsoft certified trainer. I've been a certified trainer since 2020. So this is like my fourth year as a certified trainer in the Microsoft space. So these are the various things that are available. If you go in, if you have a live account today, maybe hotmail.com or outlook.com, if you go into this site, there are a lot of some of these things that you still see as well. Because like a demo environment from Microsoft, like you have a lot of stuff around Virtual Studio Enterprise, Azure DevOps, if you're interested in Azure, the Microsoft 365 developer. So Microsoft recently stopped this. We're going to show you things around it. So what we actually needed there is this Azure $150 monthly credit. So for every Microsoft certified trainer, you have access to that monthly credit, and that gives you access to Azure environment itself. You'll be able to do a lot of demo for training. You can do demo. It gives you access to a lot of different Azure services, right? So the only thing I needed to do here, so later you can just visit the site, just play around it too and see stuff for yourself. So what I needed to do is to activate here, right? I just click on activate here. So because I actually activated this a few weeks ago, so it will tell me that I've already activated the account. That's the area it's going to tell me. But the moment you click on activate, it will tell you some steps, put in your details, your name and all that. So, but it's going to give me, throw me that error that I've already, this can be activated once or so, because you can only activate that subscription once in a year. Once you renew your MCT again, you'll be able to come back here again and activate it again. So it says you can't activate this register bench more than once. So because I've already activated it, yes. So to go into the Azure environment, I could click on this, view existing subscription in Azure portal. If I click on this, it's going to take me into Azure itself, right? It's telling me this account, they have a code. The code has been sent to, let me confirm. I'm checking my email for a code. So the code is sent to me. I'm trying to refresh my email to see the code that's coming.
Okay. So as it is now, I can access this platform, or can I?
You can with your personal account. You can, but that subscription I just activated, you will not you not see it there because that is a benefit for MCT, Microsoft Certified Trainer. I'll tell you how you can become an MCT. It's actually one of the, it has a lot of benefits, right? As a Microsoft Certified Trainer, you have access to a lot of training materials, different resources. So after putting the code that I was sent to my personal account, it brought me to the Azure portal. But where our journey actually started from is how do we access the Azure portal? So it's the same place. If you go to portal, okay, if you go to portal, to Azure, right? So it's still the same place. So it's telling me because I'm already signing here. It just tell you to log in with your, so my account, the default account has been signed in here. Let me show you the subscription. So if you click on the subscription here now, so the subscription, you will see that the subscription is there. And to tell you that this subscription is active. So this is the name of the subscription, Virtual Studio Enterprise Subscriptions. And the subscription is currently active, right? If I want to see my credit that is left for this month, if I click on this subscription, so because I've not used it at all, I have $150 credits remain. So with this $150, so every month Microsoft renews it, even though it's just $20 I use it, Microsoft just top it up to make it 150 again. So nothing will be added to it, just to provision. So without the subscription now, without subscription, you cannot do anything on the Azure portal, right? You must have a subscription before you can do anything on the Azure portal. Now, let me go back home. And I want to show you something quickly. So you see one of the benefits. So all services, I just click on this 3 lines here and click on all services. I want to show you different services and why your employer actually asks you to have the knowledge with Azure AWS, because this platform are available with a lot of services, right? You, for example, that you're doing the course in data science and I don't know, and AI, right? So like you have a lot of stuff under AI machine learning. In fact, I'm currently exploring that myself because I'm preparing for my Azure AI exams at the moment. I think that's Weinberg for services. So with this can actually, help with your knowledge. Like under the AI machine learning, there are about 22 services here. Services around the Azure AI service itself, anomaly detection, different services. You go down, you see under analytics too, as a data analytics. So these are some of the things that you do. So having the knowledge in the cloud platforms will be actually our advantage. Then we have a couple of compute resources, which is something we're going to deploy one resource now. So from that resource, I will now be able to now deep dive into what we actually, I'm taking you on the journey, how I needed to get the virtual machines, right? So that I'll be able to, be able to access third-party URLs, even as I'm using my organization system without limits. So that's the bring. So depending on the category, a lot of category Azure make it easier because you can easily go through, okay, I want to, for this month or for this week, I want to look into mixed reality, for example. You'll be able to see all the services that are available and you can learn them if you're interested. Okay, I want to go into cloud security, Azure security, for example, now. So you want coming to security part, So navigating the Azure portal is something we're going to also look at in this course, right? I'm just giving an overview of what this is all about. So that's actually how. Now, the next thing I want to deploy a virtual machine because it was this virtual machines that I was able to use to, do other stuff. I'm able to support Microsoft customers to be able to access third-party URL and all that. So now, deploy a virtual machines. So there are a couple of ways you can do it. You can either come to this search. So the search is something that you're going to be using a lot. And if you see, I have a virtual machines open. You come if you type machines. Type machines, so it's going to bring different options for you here. Virtual machines. So if you click on virtual machines, So you can either click on create here or click on create here. So there are a couple of ways to do something in Azure. That's one of the beautiful things about Azure. So if you click on, I want either Azure virtual machines, Azure virtual machine with preset configurations. I'll be explaining this in the future sessions. So if I click on Azure virtual machines, now if you come here with your account, if you sign into portal.azure.com, right? And you don't have any subscriptions tied to your account. You don't have the subscription that I showed you, for example, either it pay as you go or once you click on that virtual machines, it will never bring you to this page. It will return you back to this home page here. Why? Because what's making it possible for me to be able to move to that stage was because I have a subscriptions. So once I click on virtual machines and I don't have any subscriptions in this account, it's going to return me back. Let me give you an example. Let me use an incognito window here and sign into the same place with an account that doesn't have that subscriptions. Yeah? So let me use one of my accounts. Let me get a code for this. I have access. So I don't use this account, it's just my demo account that I use it majorly for demo purposes. Okay, let's get the code. And the code here, verify. So this is a normal verification process to be sure that you're the owner of the account.
Yeah.
So you can see that I can still access the Azure portal, right?
I'm even also
Now,
I'm also even trying to
yes, you
log
can
in by
try. You
myself
can
too.
try on your end. You
Yeah.
can try it on your end. You'll be able to access it too. I'm just trying to clarify something about subscriptions, right? What's the importance of subscriptions for Azure,
Okay.
right? Because the cloud. All right, can we move ahead?
Continue, please.
All right, so if I click on virtual machines here, so I told you there are a couple of ways you can access different resources, right? Did you notice what happened? Let me go back to the home. Virtual machines was here. If I click on it, it took me back home. Why? It took me to a page that's telling me that I can either get started with free trial because I need to get a free subscriptions, right? Then it's also giving option to you can manage your Microsoft Entra ID, or if somebody is a student, you can have access to students benefits here. Maybe somebody is in the university and all that. And that even reminds me, with your organization, with your school email address, you can get access
Of
to
course,
Azure for
I have
free.
access
Yes.
to this.
Yeah, okay. So they'll give you $100
So
credits every month for you to be able to practice with your student ID. Yeah.
yeah.
So because I don't have suspicions tied to this account, that's why
So
no
sorry,
matter
before
what.
how do I
All right.
get to this place now? I'll
Okay, go
go
to
to
portal. I'm putting in the chat now.
so
Portal.azure.com.
okay. The email I need to enter should be my school email, right?
You can use a schema, yeah. You can use a schema.
Okay.
Although in case if you don't even have access to it, I can provision an email for you that you'll be
Oh,
using to
I
practice,
think
yes.
I think I'm there. Welcome to Microsoft Azure. We are glad you are here. Okay, get started. Okay, how do you plan to use Azure? It's giving me some more page. Should I click everything?
Okay, let me stop sharing so you can share your screen so you can see.
Okay.
You can share your screen until you're ready.
What I'm trying to do. Don't think I'm getting it right.
Okay, you see a share button that says share beside leave a meeting. Say share button. Can you see the share button?
It's not showing here.
Let's see. Let's see if I gave you a sharing right. Okay, sorry. Let me give
The
you
share is
sharing
not
right.
activated. It's not activated.
Yeah, let me make it. Let me make it. I'll make you a presenter now. I can try it now.
Okay. Now I think I can. Show screen right.
Yeah, any of your screen that you currently have open here.
This I am. Can I see it right?
Okay. Oh yeah, I can see your screen. So how do you manage? So you can basically select for everything, right? You can select for everything. You can create, manage. Because never can tell as you continue your journey in learning it, you might need to do some things, right?
Yes.
You're going to need it for AI and machine learning here. That one is very important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very. No. Data architecture. Architect.
You can check the others. Just click
Let me
on
check
next
the
here.
others. Yes.
Just click on next.
Next. Start it all.
This will just show you tour around the. So you can just play around this. You're already inside the Azure environment.
So
Can you search for subscriptions? Let's see. Search for subscription in the search bar up. That's search bar here. Type in subscriptions. Let's see. Yeah, click on the first one.
Okay.
On the first one. Yeah. So that's like what gives you access to Azure. So currently now you don't have any subscription. So go back home. So let's see how we can get it to your student accounts. Go back home.
Okay. Access student benefit.
Yeah, click on that. Click on explore.
Sign up for students 18 and up can get the credit. Okay.
Yeah, click on sign up now.
Sign up now.
Yeah. Done. Let me see.
So I'm trying to see. Okay, I think it should be start free.
Yeah, start free. Yeah, start free.
Connection failed. Okay.
Going again.
I think it's expecting me to go to my school password.
All right.
Oh, sorry. If I can achieve this, let me bring out my other phone to activate this.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Sorry. Okay, I think it's coming.
Okay, so it wants to verify. So yeah, I think yes. Hope your school fees is not too expensive.
We thank God, Sha. It's not easy. We've paid it, you know. I'm almost through, you know, just writing my project. I'll be finishing this month. I'll be submitting my project this month, yeah.
That's a good one.
It's not easy. It's not easy. But at least we thank God, Sha. Everything Najapa route. Najapa route. Okay. Please saw the puzzle so we know you are not a robot. I can't see any puzzle. Should I click next?
Click on next. Click on next. Yeah. Okay. So bring. Reload it.
Challenge.
On next. This doesn't work. We'll try the audio. No, just click
Let's
on
see the
next.
puzzle. Okay.
So
One
click.
square that show two identical objects.
So identical object. I think it's a gamepad. That gamepad. I seen that
This
pad.
one. This
No,
one.
no, no. The bottom right. The bottom right. Right.
This one.
Yes. Yes, that
Okay.
one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're right. That's the identical object.
All right.
It is gone.
So click
So
on
I can
verify
extend
academic
that.
status. A lot of people they don't know that with their academics email they can get free credit from Microsoft. There are a lot of stuff Microsoft gives
Opportunities.
students. Yes, a
Wow.
lot. A lot.
Wow. Notification.
I think I can put your personal email there. It's just for important notifications.
Okay, this one.
You can put your personal
Okay.
email there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Just for important notifications. I don't want to miss, except you monitor your school emails
No,
actively.
not really. Not really.
Mhm.
Matric code. You do not enter country code, right?
So you can remove that. Remove down here.
Mm-hmm. 073 192
And calm down. And these ones are optional, so they are not important.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Yeah.
Get a
Click on
customer agreement.
I agree. Yeah. Then sign up. Just sign up. It's a customer agreement that is important.
Okay.
Like you
Okay.
wanted to
It's
put an
asking.
address. Like yeah, just put an address.
At least if this one is on, at least I can practice. You know,
Yes.
after the class, I can go back and
Yes. I'll even give you some demo labs to practice. So I'll give you some labs to
yeah.
try. So once you have it, I'll just give you, okay, try this lab one. So you just follow the steps in the lab, yeah. So you're
Are you
setting up your
satisfied?
account.
This one is satisfied there, or this one? I don't know which of
Is
the
the first one.
emojis.
Is the
Okay.
the first one like smash, yeah.
The emoji can be confusing at times. I think it's good now.
Yeah. Into
Okay, I think I'm home.
all right, awesome. So you have you have it available for the next 1 year. Then so if you go back to type subscription now, you should see subscription there.
So
Type subscription.
this available credit, what does it really mean? I don't really understand.
So those credits, okay, I'll explain everything to you. Click on that subscription, yeah.
Okay.
Once you just type sub, it will bring it up. Yeah, you don't need to type it completely.
Okay.
Okay, let's do something.
0 of 1.
Type in virtual machines first. Type in virtual machines. Okay, the first one. Yeah, the first one. Let's take
Okay.
the first one. Yeah, the first one. Okay, I think we still need to add the subscription. Click on explore again for that student benefit. I think we still need to add it. Let me see, student profile.
Yeah, it's already there, showing because it's showing my details there.
Yeah, can you scroll down a bit?
Okay.
Scroll down. Let me see. Okay, there should be a way to add it. All right. Go to that subscription again. Go to subscription.
Okay.
Subscriptions. Just click on the subscription. So any recent
So
you see
what
there.
are we adding now? Why are we adding?
Click on add.
Because I
You want to add the subscription as part of your Azure. Click on the add.
Okay.
See. Section container that provides resources. So probably the subscription is still provisioning. Maybe we should give it some time, right, for the subscription. Let's give some time because it should be showing that you really have the subscriptions. Let me see.
Okay, it's already bringing my details, billing account, billing profile. It's showing, please upgrade your account before adding a new subscription. So that means, yeah.
Yeah, this will be
Does that
tied to
mean?
your student's account, actually. Let me just give me 1 minute. Let me confirm something.
Okay.
I think trying to see on my end there.
Okay.
Okay. Let's click on the upgrade your account. See what's going to bring.
What happened?
Click on that upgrade.
Asking me to add payment instruction, payment details.
It's no. You're not supposed to do that. We get 12 months for plus service. Okay. You can let's close this. Maybe what all we should have done is to sign in with a personal account. Because this will actually have the different subscriptions rates, which is all we want to do. Go back home. Go back home.
Okay.
Sometimes the subscription takes a while before you start showing. Click on virtual
Right.
machines from under these services. Click on virtual machines. Let me see. Can you see virtual machines?
That's what I'm looking for. Can't find it here.
Okay.
Okay, I've seen it.
Yeah, click on that. So
Again,
okay,
back to
so
this
that means he's not picking the subscription yet. All right, we'll check that later. How that is.
Okay.
Let's just move ahead.
Okay.
We'll check
Let's
it
go
later.
ahead.
Yeah. So I'll be sharing my screen back now.
Mhm.
Okay. So please confirm once you're able to see my screen.
So this is the Azure platform.
Yes, yes. So I
So
was
is it the
explaining to
same
you the other time
platform,
that
the same platform they use in the industry, the same platform?
yes, yes,
Okay.
that's a so portal.azure.com is a platform. So once you have now, what I'm going to do two more things. Like I'm going to create an account for you so that
Okay.
pending the time you're able to check that your student account that you used to practice, right? I'll create that account for you. So like I explained the other time that if there is no subscription, you cannot do anything on Azure. It's that
Yes.
subscription that allows you to do something. So we'll confirm. So it's either I start a trial, which I'm going to need to put my credit card here, and it will give me 200 credits, dollar credits for 1 month. So after that 1 month, that means I'll have to start paying for it. So
Won't they debit
basically,
you?
yeah, they will debit. They will debit. So it's pay as you go. So I'll explain how the whole thing works. And then once we discuss about cost and all that, how to manage your cost. So nothing will happen here. So that's why I'm trying to let you know. So let me just close out the tab. I don't need it again. So now this is where I have a subscription, right? And I want to provision a virtual machines. If I click on create Azure for virtual machines. So it's
Why
check
why
first.
why 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 are we creating the virtual machine? Sorry for asking question because
No, no,
I
no,
need to
no.
I like asking to know.
Yes, you need
Uh-huh.
to know,
Why are
right?
we creating
So
the virtual machine?
So remember the scenario I gave you that on
Yes,
my
with that time.
office laptop, I cannot
Yes,
access any other third party, right?
yes,
App
yes,
URL, any other third party sites, except
yes,
Microsoft sites. So we
yes.
needed a virtual machines
Okay,
that we can use to access those third party URL. That's actually one of
okay.
the use case for that scenario. But virtual machines can actually do a lot. So in the industry, for example, now people use
Mhm.
virtual machines to host applications. They use virtual machines to host their database. They use virtual machines for different use cases, depending on the type of virtual machine. It could be a Windows server, it could be a Linux server, it could even be the normal Windows 10, Windows 11. It could be anything. It could be the normal client of Ubuntu or the server version, right? So we'll be able to see different images of servers. So the virtual machine is basically, okay, I don't want to put anything on my own personal system, but I want a computer that will be available anytime for me, such that I can keep in resources, I can keep in my files, I can keep in things, my applications, I can host it there, and that computer will be on 24 hours. Like for example, now, I'm very sure there are sometimes if you want to go to bed, you just shut down your system, you want to sleep. Just imagine that you owns a company that has an application that needs to run 24 hours. Your system
Mhm.
cannot be on 24 hours, but a virtual
Yes,
machines that is hosted on an Azure data center can be on 24 hours for you. You understand?
okay.
So those are the works of virtual machines. So they use them to host applications, host different resources, databases that you want them to be available 24 hours. And anytime you don't want it, you don't need it again, you can simply delete it. So instead of going to market and say, okay, let me go and buy a server, let me go and buy different networking, computing stuff. I can easily say, okay, let me just spin up a virtual machines, and the virtual machines will be available for me. Anytime I need it, I can deploy my applications on it. I can do a lot of things on the virtual machines, and it can be available for me 24 hours.
So who manage the machines and what about the memory capacity of the machine?
All right, that's a very good question. Thank you very much. So the machines, because it's a virtual machines, most of the things around it are managed by the cloud service provider. In this case, as we're talking about Azure, it is Microsoft. If it's EC2 instance, for example, which is owned by
Mhm.
Amazon now, that will be
Mhm.
managed by Amazon, or Google Compute by GCP, Google, right? So for this ones now, the infrastructure where the data machine is hosted, the data center where the virtual machine is hosted, everything is being taken care of by
It's on Azure.
Microsoft.
Microsoft, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So it's in their data center, one of their data center, depending on the region. And the beauty of the virtual machine is that you can determine where do you want to host the virtual machines. Do you want to host it in Africa? Do you want it to be in Europe, in the United Kingdom, or in the United States? So depending on your location, you can host it anywhere in the world, and it will be available 24 hours. So let's say, for example, now your company is hosted, your company is set up in the UK, for example, now, and you have branches in Africa or other country, but for redundancy, you don't want institution whereby users connecting to the virtual machines, the connection will be slow due to internet and all that. You can say, okay, let me provision these resources in Africa, even though your company is in the UK, right? You can provision the virtual machines that will be accessible to users at a good speed for users in Africa, for example, now. Then we have a data center in South Africa that you can provision the virtual machine. So Microsoft have different data centers. Those are the things you're going to look about when you talk about Azure regions and all that. You'll be able to see it's how they all play out. So for this scenario now, I just wanted to create the virtual machines in such a way that I can access the virtual machines, and with the virtual machines, I can do anything with it without needing to go and buy a computer, maybe going to the market or discussing with a vendor to supply me a computer, a server and all that, then start setting up a server, a data center, racks and all that. So now, what makes it possible for me to come to this page itself is because of the subscription, because it's seen that I have a virtual student enterprise subscription. If I don't have a subscription, I will not be able to come to this page. So whether the subscription is active or disabled, so far I have a subscription, I'll be able to jump into this page. The only thing is going to tell me that this subscription is currently disabled. But because the subscription is active, that's why I'm able to come to this page, right? So the next thing, I need to create what is known as resource group. So resource group, we're going to go into it detail, but let me just give you an overview. It's like a container that will contain all your resources, your networking resources, your routers, right? You know, when you set up a data center, you have networking resources, you have routers, you have your cables and all that. So the resource, you have your storage, your OX, you know, your disks, you have them. So resource group is actually that thing you are creating, a logical container that you're creating to hold all your resources together so that you can easily manage the resources. So
It's like a warehouse.
exactly. Exactly. So for now, I don't have any resource groups. So I'm going to say, okay, this is my, let me call it is a 900 resource group, RG. So it's going to check if it's available globally. So if somebody has used this, it will not be available. So I click on OK. So I have my resource group. Now, the virtual machine name.
So
Like if
the
you want,
group, sorry, the group, you just give it a name yourself.
I just give it a name. Yes.
Just any name.
I created it. Yeah, I created it myself. Just by clicking on create new.
Okay.
Then put it in name. Then say okay. That's what I did. So it could be any name you like.
Any name.
Any name, yeah, any name. So the virtual machine name, you know, when you want to sign into your computer has a name, right?
Yes.
Like if I come to this my computer and type in about PC, for example, now about PC.
Bring out the name of the PC. Yeah.
Yeah, so you bring out different things like the device name, right? The RAM that I have, you know, another thing. So the name of my machine. So any name I like, I can just call it my manual game. So to check if the name is available. Then which region do I want these resources to be? These virtual machines I want to, so there are different, Microsoft different regions globally that you can spin up the virtual machines, either the East US, East US 2, South Central US. So different, I can set to choose any region that I like here, that I want
So
the virtual machines.
If you host it in any of those regions, you can access it wherever you are globally.
Exactly, yes. I can
So
access it globally.
why hosting it in a particular region then?
All right, so let me tell you about our region work, even though we're still going to talk about Azure regions. So why we need to host it? Some region has some resources, but they don't have another resources. So some resources works together, right? Those resources must be in the same region. So let's say I want to provision, I'm just giving an high level example, for example now. I want to use a particular machine model, right? Machine learning model, right? For example now. This machine learning model is available let's say in the US, for example, but it's not available in Africa, right? And I have my resources provision in Africa, for example. It will be very difficult for me to use the machine learning model because where my region is in Africa for my resources. But what I needed so most of the time in architecting, as an Azure solution architect, which is the expert level that you're talking about, an architect will need to understand the region. Okay, these are you're drawing the overall architectural of the IT infrastructure for the organization. Okay, these are all the resources we need. Which are the best regions to deploy these resources, right? In terms of availability, in terms of scalability. So those region is actually very, very important, right? So based on resources that you want to have access to as an organization, and for resources to be able to speak to one another. So I'm going to use the recommender, which is the UX region.
Yes.
Now, later I'll talk about this availability zone, but for now, I'll just because I need to explain this before I use it. Okay. So I just select no infrastructure redundancy for now. The security type, let me change, I'll just put standard for now. Now the image is talking about which OS, which operating system do I want to have on that virtual machines? Is it Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2016 or 2019? Or do I want a Linux server, Ubuntu, CentOS, different servers? So when you click on see all images, for example, now, so it will take me to the marketplace where we have different images for the Azure infrastructure itself. It's taking a bit of time to load. So it's actually going to the Azure marketplace where we are. So these are different, various images that you can, have with your virtual machines. Talking about the Windows servers, Windows 11, Red Hat, Ubuntu, CentOS, SQL servers, virtual machines, can even be a Windows 365 Cloud PC, different. But what I want to do for the sake of this demo, I want to select a Windows server for the sake of this demo. So you can click on it to read about what features of the machines, but just go to select. Once you're done reading it, you're okay with this. Okay, this is what I want to use based on what I can use it for. Does it fit my use case for what I want to do? Then just select it. Now, in selecting, it gives you different option. Which of the Windows Server? Is it 2022? Right? Is it 2019? You come down, you see different versions. It's 2016, right? So I don't want to go into make it complex. Let me just select a Windows 11, right? And select the latest one, Windows 11 Pro 2. Oh, this actually took me back when I refreshed. It took me back when I refreshed. Oh, that's just went to the marketplace straight up because I've not saved it. So you didn't save anything I've done so far. It's 700 R2. WM. So East, yes, infrastructure. So you just click on this. So I can select anyone I want. So let me select the 1720. So the size here is where you'll be able to see how much should you pay for it per month. Because we are running on OPEX, not on CAPEX, right? Operational expenditure, right? So how much you can know that this will cost me this amount, this will come this amount per month. So 1 BP. So I'll leave it with default. So the username here is talking about the username that I want to sign into the computer. Like whenever you lock your system, right? The name you use to sign into the computer. And it's very important. Okay, starting with the character was long, so you're increasing character. So gives you the option for, so these are in the talking parts, we talk about them, but what I needed is just RDP, so I'll leave it. Then would you like to use an existing license? If you have a license, you can, check that. But I don't want to use the existing one. So click on create, review and create. It's going to check through every other thing, but I don't want to go through because every other thing I'm going to leave them as default, right? So that's why I don't want to, because I have the option to select the digs, the networking. So if there's an error, it's going to actually take me back that, oh, this thing, there's an error. I should have gone through the digs, networking, the management and all that. But I was going to leave it as default. It's revealing what I've set up. So if there's an error, there's an issue, it's going to tell me, okay, check this place, check this place. So it's telling me that I passed. So that means I passed everyone. So if I check these digs now, for example, now, so this is the default digs that it's provided for me, right? Provided that default. If I check the networking, you will see the digs. So you can select the digs you want, the image default of the digs, the size of the digs, you can select it. So the one, the a platform and its key. Then if you go for the game, you can check the networking, right? It tells you the virtual networks, the subnet, the public IP address, PNIC. So because I was not going to change anything from here, that's I just went to review and create. In terms of management as well, the same thing. So the one the virtual machine to shut down here. So I want it to shut down every 7 p.m. If I don't want it to shut down, I'll just disable this. So it to run 24 hours. It doesn't shut down at all. In terms of monitoring, down to enable manage storage accounts. So what's recommended, so I left it as default. So for advanced, I'm not going to do any advanced changes here for now. In tags, maybe there's a tags I want to use, but I don't want to do anything. So it was done to review and create. So that's what you did the other time, to review all the settings, there are things I need to check. So basically, once the system is up, it tells you how much you're paying to Microsoft per hour. So using this particular virtual machines. Great. So this will just go ahead and create virtual machines for me. So it's tell me is initializing the deployment already. If you check here. So for here, all I just need to do is just sit down and be waiting till it creates it. So I think within 5 to 10 minutes, it should be done creating the virtual machine. And I'll have a Windows Server 2022 available for me to use my applications, to use anything I want to, use it for, basically. Do you have any questions so far?
No. Not yet.
All right. So while we're waiting for it, let me just pull up my slide. So just do a bit of some introduction.
Just introduction. What is Azure? How did they come by the name?
Yes. Do that. So basically, it's just telling that the deployment is in progress. So it's deploying everything for you. Yeah. So these are things that it has deployed so far. It has deployed virtual machines, virtual network, IP, network security group. So it does that on its own. All right, so let me jump into my slide. You're waiting for that. All right, please confirm if you can see my slide.
Very well. AZ 900300300, then a pass 01.
Yeah. So here we want to discuss what the cloud concept is. Basically, we'll talk about cloud concept because what is cloud? We need to understand what.
I believe the recording is still ongoing, right?
Yeah, it's still ongoing. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's
Okay.
still ongoing.
So I'm not
It's
just
still
yeah.
ongoing. Yeah, no, you don't even need to jot. I will show you where you can get everything. You don't need to jot. Just for you to pay attention to try to
Yeah.
understand. Yeah. So for today, we're looking at the very beginning, right? Of the many plans. The very beginning, where the whole thing started from. So we're talking about cloud computing. What is cloud computing? What is shared responsibility? What is cloud models? We try to distinguish between capital and operational costing. Yeah, we look at what are the cloud benefits, then cloud services types. So that's actually where we actually draw the curtain for today's session. The idea is just to is not to bombard you with a lot of information, right? It's just to take it bit by bit, so you'll be able to understand, okay, where did they come across the idea of cloud computing? Why are they, talking about cloud? Why should we even use cloud? What happened to our on-prem infrastructure? What are the benefits? Why this cloud is so important, basically. So the course idea, the idea behind the course, so it's actually for beginning learning. So people that are actually new to the cloud computing itself, then how Microsoft Azure provide the services of the cloud computing. So you are experienced to know the basics of cloud computing and Azure, how to get started with Azure subscriptions and accounts, advantages of using the cloud computing services, learning to differentiate between the categories and the types of cloud computing, how to examine various concepts, resources, terminologies that are necessary to work with the Azure architecture, talking about the core services available in the Microsoft Azure, then the general security, network security features, how you can use various Azure services, right, to help ensure that your cloud resources are safe, they are secure, and they are trusted, basically. So it's actually in a series of the AZ900. So AZ900 is actually the Azure fundamental exams itself, which is actually where to start from. All right, let's move ahead. So cloud computing. So under cloud computing, we're going to define what cloud computing is, define the cloud models, then identify appropriate use cases for each cloud model, then describe the consumption-based model and compare cloud pricing model. So what is cloud computing? So cloud computing is actually the delivery of computing services over the internet, enabling faster innovations, flexible resources, and economics of scales. What does this mean? It simply means that I don't need to be in a physical location to be able to have access to different cloud resources, right? With the availability of internet for me, once an internet is available, then I should not be limited because we are delivering computing services like the compute resources, the networking resources, even the storage resources over the internet. And the computing services include like common IT infrastructures, such as your virtual machines, the one we just deployed, talking about storage, databases, and networking. And also cloud services also expand the traditional IT offerings to include things like Internet of Things, machine learning, even artificial intelligence. Those are things that are actually part of cloud services. And because cloud computing uses internet to deliver the services, it doesn't have to be constrained by any physical infrastructure, the same way a traditional data center is. Now, most organizations, especially even in Nigeria till now, banks, examples, they have their own data centers where it has different virtual machines, different networking devices, right? You see wires, you see routers, you see different informations, different devices, physical hardwares, which need to be managed by personnel. But for cloud computing, I can own a data center without even stepping into a physical data center. That's what cloud computing is all about. That means I can have my virtual machines, I can have networking devices, I can have storage devices, I can have databases, yet I don't have a physical location. In the real sense, I'm actually renting those services. That's what it means. I'm renting those services from who? The cloud service provider. It could be maybe I'm interested in Microsoft Azure, owned by Microsoft, then the AWS, Amazon Web Services, which is owned by Amazon, or the Google platform. We have a lot of them. DataOcean, we have the IBM, we have the Oracle Cloud, Alibaba Cloud. There are a lot of them. So depending on the cloud service that if you I want to work with, I think this cloud service provider, their services actually is in line with our organization strategies in terms of IT and infrastructure. So, and in the same way, if I need to increase my IT infrastructure rapidly, I don't have to wait to build a new data center. You see organizations spending money on racks, on networking devices, right? So they have to request that from the vendors. At the end of the day, they have to wait for the vendor to supply it, and they have to have personnel on site to start building it. That's like the whole traditional way where people are doing things. So you can actually use the cloud to rapidly expand your IT footprint as an organization. So you don't have to wait for racks. You don't have to wait to set up from scratch. You already have it available. Microsoft and other different service provider, cloud service providers, they already have those data centers globally in different locations. You are just coming to rent. Like, let me check. Let me stop this presentation. Now, our virtual machines is ready. Now, when the virtual machine, if I click on go to resources now, all right, there are a lot of things that are involved in these virtual machines. So if I just say that this is a virtual machine, you'll be like, what makes it a virtual machines, right?
Yeah.
But I can see the property that here, that is a virtual machines. It has a name, it has different thing. There are networking parts, there are storage parts of it, the availability part, the security parts, even the disks, the OX, other things. But how do I access these virtual machines? Now, I already have a cloud resource with this. All I just need to do is that from my own laptops here, from my own computer, I can connect to it. How do I connect? I just click on this connect button here. So there are two ways of connecting. Either you connect via RDP or connect via Bastard. So this is like an associate level way of connecting. So we use this first one here, just to connect. I'll tell you the difference and the advantage of the one over the other. All right. So the next thing, so what is important is to this public IP. If I copy that, let me see if I have a RDP already installed. So this remote desktop connection, I think it comes with our system, right? So if I click on that, so it opens this for me. So let me just, the IP I copy, I'll just paste it. So this public IP I copy, I paste it there, I'll click on connect.
Okay, so it's like you're synchronizing your system with the virtual machine, right?
Remote, let me say, I'm trying to use the right word now. So you cannot use synchronization. I'm remoting into the machine.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So Microsoft give this RDP, this remote desktop connection, to be able to connect to different desktop that are Windows based, not Linux based. If it is Linux based, it's going to be SSH. We're going to use a different application called PuTTY. But for Windows machine, if it is Windows 10, Windows 11, or Windows servers, you're going to use the RDP. So the name, the credential I provided when I was creating the machine, the username, that's why I say it's very important. Don't forget it. And the password, I'll just put it there. You will see what will happen now. It's not magic, but it is connection. So it's telling me that I'm trying to connect into this machine. So all I need to do is yes, click on yes. It's connecting, it's taking me into the machine. So if you sign into the virtual machine like provision. So that's the username that I used. And I can have hundreds of these, right? I can have thousands of these. All I'm paying is, I'm only paying for what I used. If I don't need it, I can shut it down. And Microsoft not bill me. So this is a Windows 7.
This is a virtual computer, virtual system now.
Exactly. That's why it's called virtual machines. You understand?
I
So
get it clearly now.
yeah. So this is an example of a compute resources. So if I have applications and host applications on it, I can do a lot of things on this machine. I can make it a domain controller. I can make it, to manage users' identity in my organizations. I can do anything I want with it. Do you understand? I can do a lot of things. I
Things
can add.
things you wanted you will have done on your normal system, you are not doing it on this. I
Exactly.
understand.
But this system now is not even higher because it's a server. On my system, I can't use my system as a server, except I turn on Hyper-V. Like for this, like if I go to manage, for example, now, I can add rules and features to this server. These are different course entirely, but I just want to show you. I can add rules, features. If I want to make this a file server, for example, now, I can see file and storage is installed already. If I want it to be a DHCP server, all I just need to do is check this, right? If I want it to be a domain controller, I'll check this, and I'll spin up. I can use it for a lot of things. If I want it to be a print server, I can just check this. So I'm elevating it. So without me needing to, so on a normal day in the traditional settings, I have to have a data center before I can have a virtual machines like this. Before I can have a server. After creating the racks, putting the servers, the rack, then putting the OS and all that. But I didn't have to do those things. So within 30 minutes, I have virtual machines and I can use it for anything that I feel like using it. And from my own personal system, because I have internet, that's how I'm able to connect to this. So over the internet, if you remember our definition, over the internet.
Delivery of computing services over the internet.
Over the internet, exactly. Let's move on. So in it, I have compute, networking, storage. I have different things, that are available for me to use for free. All right, let's move on. Now we have different, type of cloud, right? We have the private, the public, and the hybrid cloud. So let's go into the one after the other. What is a private cloud? So organizations can actually create their own cloud environment in their data center. Cloud environments meaning that even if users, their staffs are working from different regions, they can access organization data, right? The company is in Lagos. Some of the staffs are working from UK, from Canada, from different states, even in the country, from Ibadan, from Abuja. They are still able to access resources. That means organization they create their own private cloud. The one for Amazon, Microsoft, those are public cloud. We'll get there very soon, right? But for
this private cloud, is it what they use in bank?
That's what most banks use. Banks, fintech, even the insurance company, they use a private cloud because by CBN policies, some data, some information are supposed to be in your private cloud. Yes, they should not be in the public cloud because, for data protection, exactly, compliance, GPRS, right? So for those data security, data compliance, they have to have a private cloud. So everything is in their on premises, right? Then organizations are responsible for operating the services they provided. So because this private cloud, they are the one that owns it, they are responsible for everything. The data center, the lighting, the everything, the facility itself, the security, data center needs to have a cooling system. So the organization is responsible for that 24 hours internet, 24 hours, power supply, everything. They are responsible because these are some of the things that we are paying to Microsoft whenever you're using public cloud, because they have physical security of the data centers, physical security of the storage, of all the hardware there. And they are responsible for ensuring that it is up to date. But for private cloud, the organizations that own the private cloud is responsible, and they don't provide access to users outside of the organizations, except maybe in few cases, or maybe they have contractors or consultants, right, that need to access some resources, and it will be those resources that they need to use to work, to deliver maybe the product or to deliver anything. But for private cloud, users that are outside the organizations, they don't have access to it. Like, I've never worked in any bank in Nigeria. I don't even know how their environment is, except when I discuss with my friend who works there and say, oh, this is how our cloud infrastructure is, this is how it is. But I don't even have idea of how it is. In my organization, for example, now, except I tell somebody, okay, this is how our data center is, this is how our things, these are some of the applications we use. People outside, they don't, because you cannot have access to it because it's simply a private cloud environment. Then moving to the public cloud. So this is a cloud service that is owned by cloud service or hosting provider. Example, Microsoft, Amazon, right? And they provide resources and services to multiple organizations and users. As a person, you can decide to come with Microsoft that, oh, Microsoft, I need access to your data AI capability in the cloud. Microsoft will give you access to it because it's a public cloud. If you're users, if you're organizations, you can meet Microsoft and say, I need access to some of these stuff. They will provide for you to use, right? That is why it's called public. But you can't go to First Bank, for example, in Nigeria and say, yeah, I want access to some of your resources. They'll be like, they'll be like,
Are you okay?
are you okay at all? Are you okay at all? Are you normal at all? So that's what they will say. That's what they will tell the person, that, are you sure you're okay? Are you sure you're okay? No. Then the next one, this is just an high-level overview for it. They will now have the hybrid cloud. That is combination of both private and public cloud. So this combines both public and private cloud to allow applications to run in the most appropriate location. Like for us now, we use in our organization Amazon, we use Microsoft Azure. But most of our applications, because we interface with customers, our customers are banks, yeah, on our private cloud, right? There are some of our applications that are available on the public, on Azure, on AWS. Those are they are not customers' applications. They are what we use internally, because we, as users, also we use some of these applications, right, to be able to deploy our own internal applications, basically. So those are some of so it's a combination of those two. They all have their advantage, they all have the disadvantage, basically, for each of them. So if you are going to compare the three of them, for public cloud, there is nothing like a capital expenditure to scale up. You're not saying, I need to first of all get a building to use as my data center. I need to ensure that there's constant 24 hours light. I need to ensure that there's a cooling system. And I need to buy different server racks, start buying servers, routers, networking device. That is not available for you for public cloud, because Microsoft, Amazon, DigitalOcean, they've done that for you already. They've already set up the data center. They've done everything for you. So there's no capital expenditure to scale up at all. You only come to me that, I need the virtual machines. Now, I spin up the virtual machines within the seconds, right? Then applications can be quickly provisioned and deprovisioned. Now, the virtual machines that I spin up now, normally, if I'm to set up my own data center, for example, now, it's going to take me months of planning, to now have the data center, buy the racks, buy the servers, buy the operating system, load the servers with the OS. It's going to take a lot of time, months, before I can achieve that. But within minutes, I have my Windows Server 2022 up. Why? Because I'm using a public cloud, Microsoft Azure. Then organizations pay only for what they use. That's one beauty of of the public cloud. What I'm using currently is the virtual machines. That is the only thing I'm going to pay for. That is the only thing Microsoft is going to charge me for. Like, for example, now, let me stop sharing and go back to, let me go back to, let me minimize the server as well. The server. Now, if I go to my costing and billing, for example, just type cost here, cost analysis, cost management. So costing is something we're going to also look at as well. The only thing Microsoft is charging me for is the resources I've provisioned. If you check earlier, it tells me that I have $150 credits. Now I provision the Windows server, right? If you want to check my costs, let me check the costs. Okay. I think because I just pin up, they don't charge me for it. Because I just pin it up. So you'll be able to see what I actually, what I've used under the cost analysis. You're going to see, okay, this is the cost that you've used so far. Then you're going to see, okay, this month, this is what you've used. So it has not populated, it has not populated it. These are everything that, you know, everything is something to pay. So it's going to put the cost. Let me see if there's anything here. It's still bringing up the data. So because I think because I just provision it. Check this summary. What size cost? So it has not populated it because I just provisioned it. Yeah, because between April 5 and May 4, not used before. So your nothing has been healed already. So maybe from next week we will see some cost here. Because it will show me what I've used for today. So at the end of the day to calculate how much I've used, then it's going to put the cost here. So basically, if you go to the cost management, you're able to see to manage your cost because it's one of the things that is very important as an Azure solution architect. You must ensure that the budget, organization budget in terms of cloud adoption and all that is well managed because that's where a lot of people make mistakes. Like I remember earlier this week, our enterprise architects reached out to me that I need to know, I'm seeing $80,000 here. What is happening? Told him, well, it's possible that we will check the cost. We find out that there is some reserve resources instance that was costing us over 10,000. We're not using it. We just reserved it. Find out who reserved it was still that reserved this cost. And it was one that was even shouting that what's happening to our Azure cost and all that. He didn't know he has reserved some cost down for some resources. So even though you don't use those resources because you reserve them, so there was some reservations in our subscription. So you can, and this cost management is something we're going to look into. You see how you can actually manage your cloud resources cost because it's very, 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 very important. Let me go back to the presentation. So for private cloud, hardware must be purchased for startup and for maintenance. So you must always purchase an hardware. And organizations have complete control over the resources and security. So because it's a private cloud, you own it. However you set it up, it is yours. Nobody's aware, except maybe you have terrible bad actors that are very good. It's okay, I want to attack this bank and start looking for vulnerabilities in your environment, right? But ordinary users that doesn't even have hacking skills and all that will not even know that this bank or this insurance company or this fintech, they have loopholes, right? And organizations that own the private cloud are responsible for hardware maintenance and updates. We're going to look at share responsibility model where you'll be able to see details about what is my responsibility as a customer, what is Microsoft or the cloud service provider responsibility under the share responsibility model. Then the third one is the hybrid cloud. So this actually provide the most flexibility. You can decide that, okay, these applications, it is the users in my organization that I need to use this application. Let me deploy it on the cloud, right? You can see these applications, okay, we need to interface with some banks, and banks, due to CBN policies, application cannot be hosted on the cloud. Let's host it on our private cloud. That's the advantage of hybrid. But you know that you'll be spending more because you have both, you have to purchase hardware for your private cloud, then subscribe to public cloud too, like the Amazon or Microsoft Azure, for example. Then organization, like I've said this, organization determine where to run the applications. So either on the cloud or on your own on-premise environment. Then organization controls security, compliance, and legal requirements. So in terms of security, compliance, and legal requirements, data privacy, the best solution is mostly hybrid. So most organizations use that, especially the financial organizations, the insurance organizations, and the likes. All right. So let's compare CapEx and OpEx. So we've mentioned that for private cloud, you have to buy your own hardware. While for public cloud, you don't need to buy your own hardware. So what are like the kind of the advantage and disadvantage of each of them? For the capital expenditures, is actually the upfront spending of money on physical infrastructure. First of all, do you want to buy the building or you want to rent the building? You have to consider that. Okay, after buying it, do you need to set up the power systems, the cooling systems, to ensure that there'll be constant power, constant internet, and all that. Then, for again, the cost from CapEx are values that reduces over time. That's one advantage. Once you set up the whole thing, maybe what you'll be paying for, maybe you'll be paying your internet
That's
service
for
provider
maintenance.
money. Yes, just
Maintenance.
cost that. But for in terms of operational expenditure, you spend on products and services as needed. It's a pay-as-you-go model, right? And you get billed immediately. Once you use for this month, Microsoft send you bill for the month that you use. They send you the bill and you pay, you move, you continue, right? So for CapEx again, you spend on physical infrastructure upfront. Then you actually deduct the expenses from your tax bill, and there's an high upfront cost, but the value of your investments, it will reduce over time. For operational, you spend on services or products as needed, you get billed immediately, then they deduct the expense from your tax bill the same year. So there's no upfront cost, it's actually a pay as you use model. Yeah. So this brings us to what we call the consumption-based model. What is consumption-based model? So cloud service provider operates on what we call consumption-based model, which means that the end users only pay for the resources that they used. You only pay for the resources you use. And this has an advantage in the sense that you'll be able to predict your cost. Okay, if I use these virtual machines with this storage, with this RAM, with this, you already know that this is how much I'm going to pay at the end of the month. And the prices for individual resources and services are provided. So if you have a storage, if you have a database, if you have machine learning, different things in your environment, those prices, you'll be able to say, okay, this is the cost for this is the cost for this in cost analysis. I'm recording this session. I wanted to show you, I wanted to sign into an environment, so I show you something. But let me see if I can do that. How I have my phone to require. I wanted to actually explain this cost, but from the production environment, so you see. But because the session is recorded, I may not be able to do that. All right. I wanted to show you our environment, our production environment. I just remember that because of PII, but I showed you, you'll be able to see the cost for each of those things, the cost breakdown for everything.
Okay.
You'll be able to see it here.
So before an organization go for those services, they will see the cost.
Yes, you see the cost. Yes, you see the cost. You see the cost. All
I'm
right.
with you.
All right. Let's go back. Let's go on. Okay. It's like All right. So billing is based on actual usage. So if you don't use something, Microsoft will not bill you. And you can always analyze the cost. If you feel that Microsoft will build you, you can raise the support request to Microsoft and you'll be able to analyze it with the agents, right? So again, no upfront cost for consumption-based model. No need to purchase and manage costly infrastructures that may or may not be used. Sometimes you buy some infrastructure that you may not even use in the data center. Then the ability to pay for additional resources when they are needed. Then the ability, so when you need additional resources, you can pay for it. You can just upscale. By the time you talk about different cloud properties like that, benefits of cloud, you'll be able to see under cloud benefits when you want to upscale, downscale and all that, and the ability to stop paying for resources that you no longer need. So if I don't need the virtual machine, for example, now once I stop, I deprovision, I decommission it, the cost of that virtual machine stops automatically. Do you have any questions so far before we go into cloud benefits? So far, what
No,
has come
not
to your
now.
mind around cloud? What has come to your mind around cloud so far? So you're
That
discussing.
it's a very lovely services. It takes the burden of spending on infrastructure to other organizations like Microsoft, Amazon, or just do like those Amazon and Microsoft. They are just like giving services to people.
Mm-hmm.
So you just
Mm-hmm.
you pay for whatever you want. So instead of you burdening yourself with storage device, putting on infrastructure in place to be able to do whatever you want to do, then you can easily get those services from them. Then
Okay.
be able to also learn types of the cloud from private, public, and the hybrid, and why organization offer this or that.
Okay, awesome, awesome. There's actually, you just mentioned, when you mentioned that, you just make me remember that there's actually a type of cloud also that I didn't mention. It's not actually in the official documentation from Microsoft. It's called multi-cloud. So in multi-cloud scenarios now, you use multiple public cloud providers. So maybe you use different features from different cloud provider. Like in my organization now, we run in multi-cloud environments. We have our data center, our private cloud. Then we have Amazon, AWS. We also have Azure. My team is I'm actually the one managing it for the entire organization, both Amazon and Google, and Microsoft Azure. So in multi-cloud environment now, so there are some services we needed on Amazon that are not on Azure. You understand now? So that's why. So any service that we need on Amazon that are not on Azure, we use the Amazon service. Any service that is not on that, but Azure is our primary in terms of cloud, right? So it's only those
Is there any way?
services.
Okay. Is there any way you bring the two? Okay, maybe you are working on something now. Is there any way you can work on the two cloud services at the same time? As in
Yes.
bringing the two together.
Yes. So we have what we call in Azure, we have what we call Azure Arc, ARC, Azure Arc.
Okay.
So Azure Arc
Okay.
is a set of technologies that helps manage your cloud environments. Azure Arc can help you manage your cloud environments, whether it is public cloud only on Azure or a private cloud in your data center, or you have an hybrid configuration between, on-prem, your private cloud and public cloud, combining together hybrid, even a multi-cloud environment running on multiple cloud provider. So that's the work of that Azure Arc. It's actually beyond the scope of this, but I will still show
I
you.
know. I just want to know. I know.
Yeah,
I
yes,
just want
yeah,
to
it's
know if it's
possible.
possible.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
possible. It's possible. So the technology is called Azure Arc, right? So Azure Arc is actually what does that work. So you can combine. So our on-prem Active Directory, our private cloud is connected to our Azure. It's also connected to our AWS. So managing all those things, we use the same identity. So the same identity I use for my AD, for my Windows servers on my private cloud, is the same identity. So SSO, single sign-ons have been configured already. It's the same identity I use in my Microsoft Azure environment. When I go to AWS environment, it's the same
AWS.
identity.
You the same
So I don't need
identity.
to, yes. So
Because
that
it's
Azure
already
Arc,
together.
Yes,
through Azure.
it's synchronized. Yes, everything is synchronized together. All the environments are synchronized. So we use Azure. We also use what we call AWS Identity Access Management too. So there's an applications owned by AWS. So we just put it as we register it on our Azure. With that, we're able to register our identity. So the same identity I use on my AD is the same identity I use on my Azure. The same identity I use on my AWS too. So I don't have to have many username and password to now start remembering stuff. You understand?
That's great.
All right. All right, let's move forward to, let me share my slide again so we can move forward. So let's discuss cloud benefits. So for cloud benefits, we want to be able to describe the benefits of what we call high availability, scalability in cloud, benefits of reliability, predictability, security and governance, benefits of manageability as well. So we're going to look at each of those one after the other. All right. So when we talk about high availability, what are we talking about? So when you're deploying an application or a service or any IT resource for that matter, it's actually important that the resources are available when needed. Imagine how frustrating it would be today. Let's say you bank with Zenith Bank, for example, now.
Mm-hmm.
Your son or your daughter, they needed money. I needed to do transfer. And just once you're about to sign into your Zenith Bank application, you just tell you that service is not available. How would you feel at that point? And you needed
Very
to send the
bad.
money to me. So for high availability,
It
just
should be
imagine
crazy.
it'll be crazy. So the time I needed my money, you are telling me your service is not available. Ah, you know. So most of all these application or all these IT resources, they have to actually be, there is need to actually configure an high availability for them. Just a moment.
Okay.
So as a solution architect, when you're architecting your solution, you need to actually account for service availability. Let me share my screen again. All right. So as an architect, you need to account for service availability. You must guarantee it. And Azure as an environment itself is a highly available cloud environment with uptime guarantee, depending on your services. In fact, some of the services on Azure, Microsoft will guarantee you 99.99% in terms of SLA for their service level agreement. You understand? Because that's the importance of high availability. Just imagine that banks, for example, now they deploy. I have, as a sysadmin in my organization, I work with a lot of team. I work with our DevOps engineer. I work with our software developers. I work with different teams. Sometimes, because some of our applications are hosted on our private cloud, if there's an issue on our private cloud, all the engineers, everybody must be available, even though it's at midnight, to ensure that that issue comes up. Why? Because the issue is on our private cloud, not on Microsoft public cloud. You understand?
Yes.
So we have
Yes.
to ensure that it is
It
highly
is
available.
solved. Yes.
Yes, we have product like the Quick Teller. I don't know if you've heard of Quick Teller before. That Quick Teller application, whenever it's having an issue, we can be on course from midnight to ensure that until it is resolved before we leave the course. Because we've already promised our customers that this application will be available for you 24 hours. Now, there's an issue. We need to fix the issue. So every team has to be on deck, the SRE team, the DevOps teams, everybody else, until you find a solution to that. And cloud infrastructure like Azure, they tell you they'll provide high availability for you. Now, the next one we'll talk about is scalability. What is scalability? So another major benefit of cloud computing is scalability of cloud resources. So scalability is actually referred to as the ability to adjust resources to meet demand. Let's say during the holiday season, for example, now during the Christmas, the New Year time, people do a lot of transactions, they want to buy gifts. People are going to the mall to do shoppings. They want to use their card. Imagine that a bank network is down. People cannot pay. They cannot use their credit card. They cannot use their debit card at the point of sales to pay for what they are purchasing. So because during those periods, there is actually a sudden experience in terms of peak of traffic. It is very important that if a system is not scalable, there's possibility that the system will be overwhelmed. And the ability to scale means that you can add more resources to better handle those increased demand. So when there's an increased demand, the cloud environment is actually very available for you to quickly scale, right? You are able to scale quickly. That okay, you are predicting that between November and January, you're going to have a lot of users use your platform, use your applications, right? So you want to quickly scale to ensure that you are not overwhelmed, or the application is not overwhelmed. And other benefits of scalability is that you are not actually overpaying for services, because the cloud consumption is a cloud consumption based model. You only pay for what to scale to. So when you scale up, you only pay for that scale. The moment the peak is coming down, you can scale down back, and you pay for what you. So if the demand drops off, you can reduce your resources, and thereby you are reducing your cost. That's what it means. And scaling generally comes in two various ways. We have the vertical scaling and we have the horizontal scaling. So the vertical scaling is focused on increasing or decreasing the capacity of resources, while the horizontal scaling is adding or subtracting the number of resources. Let me explain that. So for vertical scaling, if you're developing an application, for example, and you need more processing power, you could vertically scale up to add more CPU or more RAM. That's vertical scaling. So we already have our virtual machines that will provision, right? Let's say that virtual machines host one of our major applications in the organization. And this application, during peak period, during maybe Valentine's or any of those holidays, a lot of users use it to do transactions, right? So during that period, we need to scale up. Scale up means we are adding more CPU, we're adding more RAM. We don't need to shut down the machine. That's the beauty of it. I don't need to shut down the machine. In your physical, if you want to add more RAM to your laptop, for example, now maybe your laptop is running on 16 gig RAM, and you're going to run some machine learning models, and the models require you to have 32 gig. Your current laptop you're using to talk now, what do you need to do? You need to shut it down, open it, remove or either you put additional 16 gig RAM to match the current 16 gig RAM to have 32 gig RAM. But vertical scaling in cloud computing is not like that. You can, as the device is working, as the virtual machine is working, as the application is running, there's no downtime at all. You can add CPU, you add RAM, and the system, the virtual machine will be like, this has been added, have been scaled up. So conversely, if you realize that you have over-specified the needs, maybe you've over-scaled up, you could vertically scale down. Okay, we are currently running on 64 gig RAM, for example. Now we don't need it, it's too much. Let's scale down back to 32. You can scale down or the specification based on the traffic. So on the Azure platform, I'll show you on the Azure monitor where you can monitor traffic, right? Later, how you be able to see that. Okay,
the scaling will come at a cost for the organization.
Exactly.
So when you scale down, the cost will go down, right?
Okay. Yes, it goes down. It's removed automatically for you. Yeah. Okay. So when we talk about the horizontal scaling now, so with horizontal scaling, if you suddenly experience like a steep jump in demand, or your deployed resources could scale out, so either automatically or manually. For example, you can add additional virtual machines or container. Now, in vertical scaling, the same virtual machines, right? We are increasing the RAM or the CPU. That's vertical. In horizontal, you have one virtual machines. You find out that even though you scale up, you had CPU, you had RAM, you still need more virtual machines. You cannot add an additional virtual machines. You now configure load balancing. Let's say on one virtual machine, you've scaled to 128 gig RAM, for example, now. Yet the demand is not still meeting the demand. You can spin up another virtual machines with the same capacity. That's horizontal scaling. You now configure load balancing. So some traffic could go to these virtual machines, some traffic could go to these virtual machines.
These ones.
You understand now?
Yeah.
That's scaling out horizontally.
Yeah.
And in the same manner, like vertical scaling, if there's a significant drop in demand in your deploy resources, you could scale back, either automatically or manually. So you can configure it that, okay, once the resources on this machine is over 90%, spin up another one. So it's automatically spin up another virtual machines, or it will either vertical, maybe it's a vertical scaling. It could automatically add additional RAM or additional CPU to it.
That means in most times, horizontal scaling will be more expensive than vertical scaling.
Exactly, because it's a different machine you're bringing up entirely.
Yeah.
So that's why that's where Azure monitoring comes in. You're able to monitor. It will even give you, there's what called Azure Advisor to tell you that this period, this is the number of users that are using your resources. It is advisable you use vertically scale now. Then to even monitor it for you, you can configure alerts when there is drop in demand. So it can make it to automatically, scale in back or scale down back, so that you only pay for that resources that you are using at that point. So talk about availability, scalability. So let's talk about, scalability and elasticity actually works they're like hand in hand. So the scaling, if the scaling is happening manually, that's scalability. If it's happening automatically, that's elasticity. You understand?
Okay, so how does the manual scaling happen? Since
you're
the
the one that,
infrastructures are not with you.
Well, the way we are able to go into, let me stop sharing for now, moment. The way we are able to go into our virtual machines, these virtual machines here, you can do the manual scaling here. Let me see the day. So under this size, for example, now. So the current size we are using, which one? Oh, I didn't take note before me. Okay, this is the current size we are using. We are even using 8 gig RAM, right?
Okay.
We are using 8 gig RAM here. Then the data disk is 4 here. If I want to scale to this now, manually, I just need to select this one, then click on resize. I've scaled it vertically. But there's something I can do. I can configure something that this should scale automatically, but it's an advanced level. Don't let us go there right now. So I have access to the interface of my virtual machine here. So I can still scale it myself. If I click on restart, just that the money to bill me will be higher. You understand? The money is going to bill me will be higher because you can actually scale it yourself. You don't have to wait for the cloud service provider. They give you that management opportunity to be able to manage your resources. So you can manage your resources, you can scale it up, you can scale it down. If you want it to be manual, but if you want it to be automatically, maybe most of your IT teams will be on holiday that period as well, and you want the automatic looping. So you configure automatic scaling with load balancing. There are a lot of configuration that goes hand in hand with that. Then it's automatically scale for you, and that's the elasticity part of it. But we explain it in more detail.
So the automatic scaling is the elasticity.
Elasticity, exactly.
So why the manual is normal scalability?
It's scalability.
You do that yourself, okay?
Yourself, yeah. That's just the difference between the two. So elastic, when you put an elastic rubber band, for example, now maybe you've configured it that okay, Azure monitor these virtual machines. Once it hits 70% or 80% of resources, add this number of CPU to it. Add this number of CPU to it. So we can check it out later. So let's talk about availability, scalability, elasticity. Let's talk about reliability, for example, now. So reliability and readability, for example, they are actually two crucial cloud benefits that helps you develop solution with confidence, reliability and predictability. Now, reliability is the ability of a system to recover from failure and continue to function. Ability of the system to recover from failure and continue to function. Let me give you an example. So there's what we call Azure well architected framework. One of the pillars is actually this reliability. Now, the cloud by virtue is actually like in its design is decentralized. So naturally, it supports a reliability and resistance infrastructure. So with a decentralized design, the cloud enables you to have resources deployed in region around the globe, around the world. So with this global scale, even if one region has a catastrophic event, other regions are still up. Let's say, for example, now, Microsoft has data center in Japan, for example, now, and there was an earthquake in Japan, right? Even with the earthquake in Japan, other regions are still up. So when we configure what we call high availability, for example, now, let's say I configure one in region in Japan, another in Korea, another thing. Earthquake happened in Japan. That doesn't mean that my service will stop, my application will stop.
There's backup.
Exactly. So we call it load balancing. So it's just move to the other region automatically. So if there is a tsunami, there is anything in one region, other regions are still up and they are running. So you can design your application to automatically take advantage of this increased reliability. So in some cases, your cloud environment itself will automatically shift to a for you. You understand? So we call it region redundancy. So that's when that we're configuring when we're setting up. Let me go back to let me go back here. Let me just show you for you. Okay, let me see if it's available for you, if I can still configure it after availability and scaling, for example, now. So I can configure scaling here. I'm not sure my subscription allows me. Okay. So if I go to get started in availability zones, for example, now let me check if it's available. I'm not sure. So how many zones do I have? So let's say I have 3 zones. Like I can configure just like it will cost you more for that high availability. Do you understand? For the reliability itself. I can say, okay, I want this my virtual machine to have 2 different zones. So it's at the point of configuration. You select that actually. So once there's a problem with one zone, automatically traffic will be directed to the second zone.
Okay.
You understand? So I don't have to worry because I know that I've configured an high availability for my resource. I've configured a reliability for my resource. So I don't have to worry about it. That's
So
reliability.
if one configure only one zone, that means
If
it might not be,
that
the
zone
risk
is
is very high.
exactly. So you are in a production environment because it was a test environment. In a production environment, you have to configure a disaster recovery zone. You understand? So when the zone A is having an issue, the disaster recovery will just take over. So your services will not be affected, nothing will happen to you. So when that zone is back up again, you can now shift your traffic back to the original zone. Maybe they fixed the data center, they've done everything they need to do. You understand? So later on in the series, we'll learn more about reliability. So for the next one is predictability. Now, predictability in cloud lets you move forward with confidence. How? Predictability can be focused on performance, either performance predictability or cost predictability. So you're able to predict your performance, the performance of your resource that you're using, or the cost. So both performance and cost are actually, they are heavy influenced by the Microsoft Azure Well Architected Framework. So this, I'll show you how as an architect, you have to understand a well architected framework. So you deploy a solution that is built around this framework. So you have a solution that have a cost and performance predictability. So you're not worried about cost, you're not worried about performance of your of your resources. Now, for performance predictability, basically, it's focused on predicting the resources that needs to deliver a positive experience for your customers. So like things around auto scaling, then load balancing, high availability. They are just some of the cloud concepts that support performance and predictability. I'll show you and show you that in a moment. So for example, now things around load balancing, right? Load balancing, things around size, availability. So you're able to predict them, using Azure, the Azure platform itself. Okay, let me see what more we have here. So security, governance, privacy. In terms of cost predictability, so it's focused on predicting or forecasting the cost of the cloud spend, right? The cost of the cloud spend. So with the cloud, you can actually track your resources used in real time. You can monitor resources to ensure that you're using them in the most efficient way. You can even apply data analytics to find data, like in terms of anomaly detections, and trends that can help you better plan resource deployment. So by operating the cloud and using cloud analytics and information, you can predict the future cost. You can also adjust your resources as needed. You can even use tools. So there are tools like total cost of ownership and pricing calculator, which I will show them to you to get an estimate of potential cloud spend. Basically. So if you want it. All right, so let's talk about security and in governance. So whether you're deploying infrastructure as a service, we're going to talk about software as a service. So the cloud feature supports governance and compliance. Those two are actually big things when it comes to cloud. So things like set templates to help ensure that all your deployed resources, they meet corporate standard and government regulatory requirements. And plus, you can even update all your deployed resources to new standard. So as standard change, you can also update the standard. And cloud-based auditing helps flag any resources that are out of compliance with your corporate standard. And they also provide some mitigation strategies. So depending on your operational model, it could be software patches, even updates may also automatically be applied, which help both with your governance and your security. And on security side, you can find a cloud solution that matches your security need. For example, if you want to maximize control of security, infrastructure as a service, which you're going to look at, different cloud, we're going to look at them, provide you with a physical resources, but let you manage the operating system and install software. So including patches and maintenance. So if you want patches and you want maintenance taken care of automatically, you can use either the platform as a service or the software as a service deployment, and which actually, depending on you, we'll be able to look at those two, those two, those two. We look at all those different cloud models, SaaS, and in our upcoming session. Then the last one, which is on the manageability, right? So a major benefit of cloud computing is the managerial options. And there are two types of manageability for cloud computing that you actually learn about in this series, talking about the management of the cloud and the management in the cloud. So the management of the cloud actually speaks to managing your cloud resources. So in cloud, you can automatically scale resources that we mentioned, de deployments based on your need, deploy resources based on pre-configured templates, removing the need for manual configuration. You can also move the health of resources automatically, replace failing resources. You can receive automatic alerts based on configured metrics. So you're aware of performance in real time. That's management of the cloud. Then management in the cloud is actually speaks to how you are able to manage your cloud environment and resources. And there are like different ways you can manage your cloud resources. You can use either a web portal. That's that portal.azure.com that we spoke
Okay.
where we deploy our application. That's you manage through a web portal, portal.azure.com. There's what we call command line interface as well. I will show that to you. You can also manage the cloud, resources using the command line interface. You can also use what we call PowerShell. Then you can also use what we call APIs. Let me quickly show that to you. Let me show those two to you because we've not actually go on the overview of the Azure platform. So this is the portal.azure. This is one way you can manage your cloud resources. The other way, if you look at this here, I don't know if you can see this button. I just click on.
Yes, I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our cloud share, right? Which is PowerShell. So if it's a Linux machine you want to work on, Ubuntu and the likes, you use the batch. If it is a PowerShell, Windows resources, you use the PowerShell. So that's another way using the command line interface, right? So, but for this, you have to, the same way, you have to have your subscription. Now it shows I have the subscription. Then the next one, you have to mount a storage, but I don't want to do that now. So when we discuss that later, we'll be able to do that in the live. So just for you to have an overview that these are some of the ways that you manage your cloud resources. So do you have any question on the benefits so far, the cloud?
No question so far.
All right.
You've done a wonderful work.
All right.
Are you a lecturer?
I'm actually teaching is actually my number one gift. I've been teaching for a very long time.
You teach very, very, it flows easily in you.
Thank you.
Flows easily in you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. So this is the last part. So maybe we can start from here from the next class, or how do you want it?
It depends on you.
Okay.
What's the time? What's the time?
Okay, this is about
like how long will this one take?
Maybe it should take us like 30 minutes. It should take us like 30 minutes. It's just a couple of slides. Let me see how many slides. Just 9 slides, yeah.
Let's make it next time.
Yes, all right. All right.
Make it next time.
All right. No worries. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Actually, I actually planned 2 hours for this class, and it's I think it's already 2 hours more than 2 hours already.
Yes.
All right. Let me stop the recording so that I'll share the link for the recording with you.
Okay.
So if you